on? This is Chris Overstreet, the Redneck Guy G, and we're going driving tonight because I signed up for extra races online this week because I'm an idiot like that. I've got not one but two races tomorrow as it happens, both of them in the Mazda RX-5 club car. Okay, the first track is one that I have never driven at before, and I probably should have long before this, Road Atlanta. A lot of people love this track. I haven't touched it yet, so I guess it's long overdue. I'm just going to use the default setting because what the hell, but like I've done before, opponents, no, random. We're going to do my chaos race here. And oh my goodness, we're going to break the computer today, folks. 51 AI opponents. Oh, boy. Oh, I'm going to love this if it works. I'm just having fun, that's all. All right, it's race time. 20 laps. Let's try not to die. This is Chris in the future doing a very rare voiceover. Unfortunately, this stream, I didn't get a capture of the race after the fact, so all I got recorded was the live cam here, which is a shame because the first feature I did on Monday night stream was really, really fun. Whoa, 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 whoa. Got tagged on. Well, contact made already. That's not good. Oh, and here comes the traffic jam. The reason I'm showing you this at all is as an introduction to the main part of the video, which is the two actual races I drove against live opponents, all in Mazdas, on the day after I streamed this. This was just me. Excuse me, Zonda. Was that a Zonda or a Praga? I think it might have. I think it's a Praga. Nope, looks more like a Zonda. Oh, Emerson Fittipaldi got punted, and Jimmy Broadbent isn't even in this race. All right. So 126s are what we want to aim for on this one. Well, no, 130s, because 4 seconds slower than the sweats is my personal goal. I know I'm bad. I know I'm a lousy driver in these things, but I try to get my enjoyment where I can. And I gotta say, I like driving the MX-5 Cup. It's got plenty of grip up to the point where it completely lets go. And if it wasn't for the heavy torque steer when you downshift, it would be the perfect touring car in my opinion. It feels wonderful to drive. I didn't know it at the time, but just as the Road Atlanta test run was good practice for the main race, this would be even better practice for the main Goodwood race than I had any right to expect. And you'll see why. Damage right from the start. Oh boy. Carnage immediately. And there was a car displane never took out from his starting point, apparently. Welcome back, Heartsfire. You're here for the disappointing end to this race, which is, well, you see these two cars here that are stranded on the track? They failed to start. And they're being stranded on the track, killed off one by one, virtually all the other runners. I'm currently running in third, and everybody behind me who is still running is a speed-limited truck. Jimbo finally found his legs. And lost them again. got thrown off my gear shift regimen. And with that experience under me, it's just about time to go ahead to Tuesday and the 2 races online against live opponents at Road Atlanta and then at Goodwood. Qualifying at Road Atlanta started out pretty shambolic. As soon as I saw that there was going to be problems with getting out of the pit lane, I stopped just before exiting, and you see what I missed. Yeah, it was a combination of high pings in there, including Willie Ferreira, who's turned sideways there. He was going to be a problem later on. But he wasn't the only high ping person in the track, as you'll see in a moment. Keep a close eye on the car that just passed me there. That's Luke Palmer, and he also has a very high lag. Yeah, getting punted on my outlap of qualifying by a lagging car, that was just a wonderful way to start a race. And I'm well down in the pack from the looks of things. Ooh, a second slower than the guy in front of me, a second faster than the guy behind. It might be a lot of no man's land driving for me today. Again. This is going to be a mess. Yeah, probably. Probably. That popping and creaking you hear is the old and weak dining chair that I was sitting in for these races. 30 minutes. Here we go. We don't know why it does that sometimes, but we think it has to do with people at different ping rates. The more like somebody is, the more likely that's going to happen, with obvious consequences. And of course, Willie Ferreira was one of the bad lag pinged people, so of course he was all over the place. Now, when something like this happens, especially at the start, my instinct is, when in doubt, back off. I will admit, though, that slowing down going into these S's might not have been the best thing, especially for those who were behind me, which probably explains why that guy had to bail onto the grass. Oh yes, I was so happy with Willie after that. Well, not clean at all on the start, was it? I've lost 3 places to that. I'm probably not going to regain them. Passing in the S's is an idiot move, which is why an idiot attempted it on me. Well, there's one of my places back. Oh good, Willie's out. Excellent. Now there you see Alfonso getting set up to do a dive bomb. I, of course, had to take evading action, but as you see, he didn't quite make it on the first shot. But at that point, I was already committed to the evading line, which slowed me down and allowed him to come around on pace. And then, of course, that little blip right there brought Jimmy with him. Damn. I had to make room for that dive bomb, and that fucked that. And then, of course, Alfonso just fucks off for whatever reason. Who knows? Now at this point, I want you to observe that the person behind me, also in the green car, is Lupcho Tomev. The car in front of me is Francesco Billet. And not only are we going to be seeing a lot of them in this next several minutes here at Road America, we're also going to see them again at Goodwood, so pay close attention. The two things that you really ought to know, Lupcho is from Macedonia, and Francesco is one of the high lag people on the track. Come around on my left, thank you. Didn't quite have enough of a run to get beside him. I have to say that this part of the race right here was my favorite part of the Road America run, because I was actually keeping pace and threatening these two guys for quite some time. I'd finally fallen in with people who were on my racing pace, more or less. So this, for the first time in quite some time, was an actual race, and I enjoyed pretty much every bit of it. Fuck that up pretty, well, not terrible, but not good at all, no. Of course, I didn't actually have the pace to catch them, but all I had to do was stay close enough and wait for them to make a mistake, while of course keeping my car out of the grass as well. hate having to back off like that, but I can't trust this guy. And, of course, I had a good reason at the time not to trust him. Francesco, like I said, was badly lagged. He had over 200 ping, as opposed to my 140 to 150. And I had been knocked around by high ping people a couple of times already in this one race. Another disconnect. Pressure. That's all I can do. Wait for him to make the mistake. Cut that too tight. Threw me off for this whole section. Damn. Had a minor lockup there. Not a lockup, just threw out the rear end. Oh, there he goes. There he went too. Are you actually trying to shake me? Yes, you are. Couldn't quite make it happen. Can't be in the turn when I downshift. I gotta be careful about that. And Mr. Ed Whaley is apparently recovering from something, because he is definitely faster than me, especially when I miss my gear shifts. Oh, but he stuffed it. He stuffed it. As did he, but he's... Okay, I'm around him. The question is, can I stay that way? Okay, goodbye, Zupo. And then Whaley's out. Jupo, Tomev. I could pronounce Topev. Tomev, I mean. Anyway, he's caught up to me, more or less. He's by more than a second. That, of course, was my fastest time for a lap for the whole race. And you'll notice that Mr. Tomev, Yupcho, I mean, was, yeah, he's faster when he can keep it on the track. The thing is, you've already seen he has a little bit of trouble doing that. I mean, he was behind me earlier. And in just a minute, you're going to see where he has even more trouble. I'm actually lapping somebody, or about to. They made it about as easy as they could. And with that done, my race got a little bit lonely, what with Yupcho having wiped out and Francesco before him. And so I spent several laps driving pretty much by myself, until, roughly speaking, the 3-minute 40 seconds to go mark. Looks like I will be lapped before the end of the race. Matthew Heaven is just a robot. That's all there is to it. Yeah, Matthew's going to be on me towards the end of this lap. Oh, shit. My pre-race fuel calculation said that I put in enough fuel for 35 minutes of running in a 30-minute race. Unfortunately, that calculation turned out to be not good enough, as you'd see. And as soon as that light came on, I looked at how much time I had left, and I realized immediately I wasn't going to make it unless I lifted and coasted a lot, which meant quicker than that even, apparently. It's going to be very tight. Like I said, it's going to be very tight, and fighting the guy who's from lapping me was never going to be on anyway. So, for the next 3 minutes, I lifted and coasted and short-shifted as much as I could to stretch the fuel out as much as humanly possible. I think I can get through this lap. if I'd had more fuel, I might have been able to catch Tativus. He obviously fucked up somewhere. Actually, he had the same problem as me. He was running short on fuel and he had to make a splash and dash just before the last lap. I lost 14 seconds, according to my estimation, in my last 3 laps of running because of fuel-saving measures. And as you see, Tativus was within that margin. If I'd had fuel to fight with, would I have overtaken him? Maybe not. He was ahead of me in the race for good reason. He definitely had better race pace in general. Please. I do not have enough gas for another lap. I know that for a fact. Yeah, good. And that was my experience at Road Atlanta in the Mazda. Very fun track, very fun car. Started 13th, finished 11th. And yeah, I didn't pass anybody on pace, but I ran a fairly clean race myself, and that's all I can ask. Alright, from 13th to 11th, but it was pretty eventful and fun! That was a fun race. Maybe I will make a video of that one. On to the race at Goodwood, which I was very disappointed picked up just barely enough runners to actually have the race at all. And I was particularly annoyed that Francesco was there with his high ping and high probability of lag-related incidents. Okay, back to pits. Is there enough time to go back out? No. So, Francesco might do better than me. Otherwise, I'm second of 4. And the more I looked at these qualifying results, the more I was thinking, I could win this. So I have I've got a 75% chance of getting a podium. That's one way of looking at it. Anyway, 30 more minutes. Can my heart take it? Watch this start carefully and remember that I could not see what was going on immediately to my right. Now it's important to think, at the time, what I thought happened was that Francesco had deliberately turned into me, or at the very least carelessly turned into me, and then rammed Ariana off the road completely, Ariana being the pole sitter. But as you saw, Ariana wasn't there. That was Yupcho. After the fact, I realized that it's entirely possible that Francesco, being lagged as he was, didn't see us beside him, and therefore turned in thinking he had open space, when in fact he didn't. And I found out later that this league was only accepting reports if the action was deliberate, and I could not prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that this was deliberate. It wasn't that egregious. Still, I was determined no matter what to catch and pass Francesco and win the race. But well, I fucked it up royally here. Yeah. So let's just go ahead and throw some counters up at the top of the window, because I misremembered where I was on the track. Fuck up counters for each of us, because my off was not going to be the last at all. Of course, while I was crashing, Francesco was having his own problems. Now, I found out after the race that Ariana had been watching other people at the end of qualifying and didn't know how to get out of observer mode. So when the start came, she was stuck in observer mode, couldn't get back into her car, and ended up in the pits. Now, eventually, she did finally get going, but once she did get going, she was 2 laps down on everyone else. But remember, she qualified nearly 2 seconds faster than me, and faster than anybody else behind me. So yeah, she's going to come up shortly. Of course, remember, at the time, I didn't know any of that. Okay, Ariana's back out on track. She must have got serious damage. Meanwhile, Liupcho's day just kept going from bad to worse. Well, that's a fuck up for a fuck up. That sounded a bit smug now. What I'd intended to say was I had made a big mistake, then Liupcho had done. Let's not have any more of those, huh? Still sounds bad, though, and I am sorry for that, Liupcho. Nobody deserves to have a wipeout like that. Francesco appears to be pulling away from me, which is a little bit sad. Damn it. Fucked up the gear shifts. Tomev has stuffed it again, so he's not to worry. Ariana's a lap down, but she's going to unlap herself here before too much longer, and I'm not going to fight her. Francesco gives us another little gift. But other than that, the next lap or two was kind of quiet, while Ariana gradually ground away the distance between myself and her. And Liupcho just kept finding new and inventive places to spin out in. This particular one ended up getting him stuck inside the infield, forcing him to reset to the pits, which basically put him a lap down and kind of sealed his fate. That little washout let Ariana get side by side with me. But again, I knew she was at least one lap down. I didn't feel like fighting her, so I lifted and led her on by, thinking that she would just run away from me and I would catch her slipstream. That, of course, didn't quite work out the way I intended. Well, some people just can't be helped. I'm trying to let Ariana back in, aren't I? And Francisco is just running away at this point. she recover so quickly? I thought she was nose first into the barrier there. Fuck. Now, as bad as I felt about this fuck up in the exact same place as before, what I didn't know was that just a little bit earlier, Francesco had fucked up in an even more embarrassing way. Francesco lapped me in that. No. No. He had his own off, apparently, somehow or other. At least as bad as mine, because he's at least 6 seconds closer than he was. So there still is a little hope for me. So that was my goal set. Get my head down, crank out laps, quit having off-road adventures, and hope that Francesco stuffed it big enough for me to get back into the race. If I don't keep away from that damn curb, there's no hope for me. Francesco's in the 129s. God damn it. Yeah, that was kind of the problem. I was not matching my qualifying time. I was not improving, but all the other drivers were. All of them, including Ariana, had beaten their qualifying times at this point, and they were getting better. I wasn't. If I want to retain second, I've got to do better. Fortunately, Francesco kept insisting on giving me yet more little gifts. And I certainly needed them because, well, the final curve in particular was kicking my ass. I had changed my braking points and strategy slightly from my qualifying run to trying to gain more time, and it hadn't worked, and I had forgotten how to do it the old way. I couldn't get back to it. So I was struggling a lot. No, Francesco has stuffed it again. I did occasionally get a lucky run, which accounted for the only 2 times I got down into the 130s in the entire race. But it was still grind and pray. Meanwhile, Yupcho, who I didn't need help from, kept offering it anyway. This particular screw-up allowed Ariana to pass Yupcho, and thereby Ariana got back on the podium. and Liupcho got in stone cold last. Meanwhile, back up the road, I'm going for my fastest lap. There we go. I caught a glimpse of something up there just now. Oh, Francesco has had an off. He's going slow. And I am in the lead, at least for the moment. The question was, could I hold it? I'd seen the lap times, and I knew that if Francesco could hold it together, he would come around me again. It was only a matter of time. Thank you for the gift. He got a faster exit through the chicane. He's going to be right on my ass. So I began doing something I almost never do in a race. I began defending. Yeah, you just stay back there, why don't you? Normally I don't defend in a race because the time mismatches are just too great. What's the point? But this time, it was somebody close to my pace, and more importantly, somebody I really didn't want to win just then. I hadn't forgotten how the start went. He backed out of it. Thank God. That wasn't it, Chief. That gave up a second to him, I'm sure. My own race here. Fuck. Curb, 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 curb. And that's it for first place. The right rear tire went off the pavement into the grass, and that was all it took to make me a passenger and give Francesco back the lead with less than 4 minutes to go in the race. I don't think he's going to stuff it hard enough to put me back in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. This is Adriana, not me, by the way. I found out during editing that she was at best even money to actually make this curve on the pavement. And that was most of her lost time, except of course for the initial 2 laps spent in the pits. Meanwhile, in my car, I was counting down the seconds and hoping for a miracle. Then again, I could be wrong. And then, in spectacular fashion, the miracle happened. He's had another one. A big one. Oh, fucking really big one, apparently. And there's another one in progress up ahead. That looks a little closer than it was, but it was pretty close. Don't do what Liupcho just did there. If you're spun and there's traffic near you, stay still. Wait until the track is clear before you recover. But in any case, Liupcho had had enough of Goodwood and of his own control issues, and he chose this moment to rage quit out of the race. Francesco's still there, though. He could still win this. This is the last lap, and I'm the leader. So that was my challenge. With less than a second's lead on Francesco, who I knew was the fastest driver if he stayed on track, I had to hold the lead for one more lap. He caught the curb. He didn't spin out from it, though. He's still there. Once I was through this curve, I knew I had it won. And as a result, my outbreak at the end was a little bit fatuous even for me. Apologies in advance. Thank you for the push over the line. Victory! And I'm still reporting your ass. Because, yeah, what went on at the start was just not kosher. You pinged me into Ariana, killed her, put her a lap down. That just does not fly. Not quite accurate, but it's what I thought at the time. Incidentally, big sorry to Ariana, who should have won that race on pace. All 4. She had the fewest mess-ups, except for the 2 laps that she missed in the pits because of the technical glitch, and she made up a lap and a half in the race. So good driving to her.